Have you ever wondered why some traders consistently build wealth over time, while others are left chasing the market's shadows, perpetually one step behind? What if I told you the difference between consistent profitability and devastating losses isn't found in some secret indicator or privileged information, but in one fundamental principle that most traders ignore? But before we begin, please hit the like button and let me know where in the world you're watching from today. It's always fascinating seeing who's joining us from around the world, and if you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of our future videos. Today, we're diving deep into what Jesse Livermore, one of history's greatest traders, called the rule of consistency, a principle so powerful yet so overlooked that it might completely transform how you approach the markets. Has this ever happened to you? You enter a trade with a solid plan, only to abandon it midway when emotions take over, leaving you with regret and a diminished account balance. The truth about trading is both simpler and more challenging than most realize. Without consistency, you're not a trader. You're a gambler tossing coins into the wind, hoping one lands heads up. The market doesn't reward the occasional brilliant move. It rewards the disciplined application of sound principles over time. Stay with me until the end of this video, because what separates the market masters from the masses isn't their ability to predict price movement. It's their unwavering commitment to consistency in every aspect of their trading approach. Here's something most trading educators won't tell you. The market has no memory, but your trading account certainly does. Every dollar you lose creates a mathematical hole that's deeper than it appears. Did you know that a 20% loss requires a 25% gain just to break even? And it only gets worse. A 50% drawdown demands a 100% return just to get back to where you started. These aren't just numbers, they're the harsh reality that inconsistent traders face every day. What you're about to discover might surprise you. The traders who build lasting wealth aren't the ones hunting for the next big trade that will make them rich overnight. They're the ones who patiently chip away, trade after trade, following their rules with military discipline. They understand that consistency is the shield that protects their capital from the emotional storms that sweep away the accounts of the undisciplined. Imagine having the confidence to enter and exit trades without second-guessing yourself, to take losses without emotional damage, to let winners run without premature exits driven by fear. This isn't some unattainable trading nirvana. It's the natural result of embracing consistency as your guiding principle. As we explore Livermore's insights further, you'll see why the most successful traders throughout history have placed consistency at the core of their methodology. The path to trading mastery isn't paved with excitement or constant action. It's built on the seemingly boring foundation of doing the right things repeatedly, regardless of how you feel in the moment. If you value these timeless trading principles, hit that subscribe button to join our community of disciplined traders committed to consistency. I'm dedicated to bringing you content that cuts through the noise and focuses on what truly builds lasting market success. The journey to trading consistency begins with a profound mindset shift. Behind the scenes of every successful trader's career is a set of unbreakable habits that form the backbone of their decision-making process. These aren't casual guidelines that bend with the wind of market volatility. They're ironclad commandments that govern every action. Think about the hidden truth of market discipline for a moment. When a consistent trader says they will never add to a losing position, it's not a suggestion they make to themselves, it's a non-negotiable rule. When they commit to waiting for specific confirmation signals before entering a trade, they don't jump the gun because of FOMO or excitement. These traders understand the profound impact of treating their trading rules with the same reverence a soldier gives to military orders. The market has a unique way of revealing character. It tests your discipline with temptation, offering quick profits for breaking your rules. Then, with surgical precision, it punishes those who make exceptions, often within moments of that momentary weakness. This isn't just about trading psychology, it's about the fundamental architecture of success in any high-stakes environment. But here's where the transformation truly begins, in how consistent traders approach the inevitable losses that are part of the game. Even Jesse Livermore himself, perhaps the greatest trader of his era, took regular losses. The revelation that changed my own trading journey was understanding that losses aren't failures. They're simply the cost of doing business in the markets. The consistent trader's relationship with losses is fundamentally different. They keep losses small through unwavering discipline and never allow emotions to hijack their decision-making process. Their methods remain steady regardless of market conditions because they've internalized a profound truth. Consistency in process eventually leads to consistency in results. In stark contrast, the inconsistent trader exists in a perpetual state of recovery. One loss swells into a disaster because they can't accept the small pain now, so they endure massive pain later. They move stops, average down on losing positions, or double their size to get even faster, all decisions that compound the original error. Before they know it, they're spending months or even years trying to climb out of a hole that never needed to exist. Now, I want to go even deeper into this concept by examining how the market's patterns reveal themselves to those patient enough to recognize them. These patterns have repeated for centuries, but only those with the discipline to trade them the same way every time can extract consistent profits from their appearance. The beauty of consistency lies in its simplicity, yet its difficulty in execution. The rules themselves aren't complicated. It's our psychological resistance to following them that creates the challenge. This is why so few succeed in the markets, despite the widely available knowledge about how to trade profitably. I'm curious, have you noticed patterns in your own trading where breaking your rules led to your biggest losses? Write "Consistency is freedom" in the comments if you've experienced how making exceptions to your own trading rules eventually became your most expensive lessons in the market. The patterns that govern market movements reveal themselves to those with the patience to observe and the discipline to respond consistently. Look at any chart across centuries of market history. You'll witness the same dance of human psychology playing out through price. Stocks build bases, break out with momentum, pull back to test support, and then either resume their trend or reverse course. These aren't merely technical formations, they're the visual representation of mass psychology unfolding in real time. The breakthrough moment for many veteran traders isn't discovering these patterns, it's developing the internal fortitude to trade them identically each time they appear. This consistency of execution represents the highest form of trading maturity. While amateurs chase the latest setup or technique, masters simply perfect their response to the same few patterns they've traded successfully for years. Professional operators don't abandon their battle-tested plans on a whim or because of a feeling. They recognize that the market's language hasn't fundamentally changed, and neither should their interpretation of it. Their edge isn't found in complexity, but in the remarkable clarity that comes from simplified decision-making applied with unwavering consistency. My own trading journey mirrors what I've observed in countless others, an evolution from seeking complexity to embracing simplicity. We all begin with the innocent belief that we can outsmart this vast ecosystem of financial interaction through sheer cleverness, speed, or boldness. There's an intoxicating allure to thinking we possess some special insight that will let us beat the market at its own game. This strategy of perpetual adaptation and risk-taking works just long enough to convince us we're onto something. The market grants temporary success, allowing us to believe our complex systems or daring trades are superior to disciplined execution. But these early wins often plant the seeds of later destruction, as they reinforce precisely the wrong lessons about what creates lasting success. The watershed moment in any successful trader's development is the transition from chasing gambling money to earning real money. Gambling money comes and goes. A windfall today vanishes tomorrow. Real money stays in your account month after month, growing steadily through the power of consistent application of sound principles. This transformation isn't merely about trading techniques, it's about a fundamental shift in identity from being a market speculator to becoming a market professional. Trading wisdom like this isn't found in flashy headlines. Subscribe now to continue this journey of trading mastery with me as we explore the principles that have created generational wealth in the markets for over a century. The revelation that changed everything for me was accepting that I didn't need to reinvent market analysis or discover some hidden pattern no one else could see. The patterns were already there, clear as day to anyone willing to look. My task wasn't to be clever, but to be disciplined, not to outsmart the market, but to align myself with its natural movements through consistent execution. What separates the trader who builds wealth over decades from the one who flames out in months isn't intelligence or access to information. It's their relationship with consistency. One embraces it as the cornerstone of their approach, while the other considers it a limitation to be overcome. Which path reflects your current trading mindset? Drop patterns over predictions in the comments if you've realized that trading success comes not from forecasting the future, but from responding consistently to what the market reveals. This journey toward trading mastery reveals a profound truth about capital. It demands respect. The revelation that transformed my own relationship with the markets was understanding that money isn't just an abstract number on a screen. It's a resource with purpose and power. Behind every dollar in your trading account is your time, your energy, and your labor. When you view it through this lens, your entire approach to risk management undergoes a paradigm shift. The traders who last in this profession develop an almost sacred reverence for their capital. They don't treat it as a plaything to be gambled with or risked on whims. Instead, they view each dollar as a loyal soldier in their army, an asset to be deployed strategically, protected intelligently, and never sacrificed without clear purpose. This military metaphor isn't just colorful language. It's a philosophy that builds wealth systematically over time. Ask yourself, would a general send troops into battle without reconnaissance, without a strategic advantage, without a clear objective? Of course not. Yet countless traders send their hard-earned capital into market battles with no edge, no plan, and no defined exit strategy. They're essentially ordering their financial soldiers to charge blindly into enemy territory, then expressing surprise when those resources don't return. The consistency we've been discussing extends beyond trading mechanics into this fundamental relationship with capital. The disciplined trader never deploys resources into foolish schemes or half-baked ideas. They recognize that each dollar, properly commanded and respected, will fight for them day after day, building their financial fortress brick by brick rather than seeking overnight wealth. Now let's illuminate the shadow side of this discussion, the unmistakable pattern of failure that repeats with almost eerie predictability across generations of traders. The blueprint of trading disaster is remarkably consistent, regardless of market, time period, or individual background. Those destined for failure begin with a plan, often a solid one. They set rules, define risk parameters, and enter their first trades with discipline. Then comes the decisive moment. The market throws them an unexpected curve. Perhaps prices move against them more. sharply than anticipated, or a position floats in limbo without clear direction, testing their patience. This is where the foundation cracks. Instead of adhering to their methodology, they allow emotion to hijack their decision-making. They double down on losing positions when their rules clearly dictate cutting losses. They chase entries after prices have moved beyond their defined entry zones. They let fear and hope, those twin destroyers of trading accounts, dictate their actions instead of reason and method. The market doesn't cause these failures. It merely creates the conditions that reveal the trader's relationship with consistency. The environment simply exposes what was already there, a willingness to abandon principles when under pressure. The enlightenment comes when you recognize that learning from these mistakes isn't just helpful, it's the gateway to transformation. I'm reminded of conversations with veteran traders who describe this pattern not as something they observed once, but as a cycle they personally repeated several times before the lesson finally embedded itself in their trading DNA. Have you noticed this pattern in your own trading journey? Comment, respect the capital. If you've recognized how your approach to managing money directly impacts your consistency and results in the market. There's a peculiar disconnect between what creates lasting success in trading and what captures public attention. The financial media thrives on sensationalism. The trader who doubled their account in a week, the fund manager who made $1 billion on a single black swan event, the newcomer who struck gold with a meme stock. These stories sell papers and generate clicks, but they hide a deeper truth about what sustainable trading success actually looks like. Behind the scenes of real trading mastery is something far less glamorous, the quiet, methodical operator who generates consistent returns month after month, year after year. Their journey isn't filled with dizzying highs or catastrophic lows, but rather a steady upward trajectory that compounds over time. This path lacks the dramatic narrative arc journalists crave, yet it's the only approach that survives the market's unforgiving test of time. The revelation that transformed my understanding came when I realized that those headline-grabbing trades, the ones everyone talks about, are often the very trades that eventually destroy the gamblers who make them. Their spectacular wins create a false sense of invincibility, encouraging increasingly risky behavior until the inevitable wipeout occurs. Meanwhile, the consistent trader builds a foundation so solid that market storms barely disturb their growth trajectory. This insight reveals the stark contrast between gambling and operating in the markets. The gambler lives for the thrill of the big win, accepting devastating losses as the price of admission. The operator views trading as a business, focusing on process over outcome and understanding that sustainability trumps sensation every time. One approach leads to spectacular stories but empty accounts. The other builds genuine wealth without fanfare. Now let's illuminate another dimension of consistency, the discipline of respecting what the chart actually shows rather than what we hope or fear it might do. Charts represent the purest form of market truth. They don't speculate, opine, or predict. They simply record the actions of all market participants, revealing supply and demand in its rawest form. The consistent trader approaches charts with almost scientific detachment, reading them like a book and allowing each page to reveal itself in proper sequence. They don't skip ahead or impose their narrative on the unfolding price action. Instead, they wait patiently for the right chapter to develop, entering only when the chart confirms their analysis, not when their analysis demands the chart conform. In stark contrast, the inconsistent trader approaches the market with a predetermined story. They've already written the ending in their mind. The stock will rise, the support will hold, the breakout will continue. When the chart tells a different story, they don't adapt their narrative. They simply ignore the contradicting evidence. Then, when inevitably proven wrong, they blame external factors, manipulation, unexpected news, bad luck, anything except their refusal to respect what the chart was clearly showing. This difference in relationship with market reality creates an unbridgeable gap between those who succeed and those who struggle. One group sees the market as it is, the other sees what they wish it to be. One group aligns with reality, the other fights against it. The wisdom lies in recognizing which approach you've been taking with your own trading. Have you been reading the book the market is writing, or trying to force the market to write the book you've already outlined? Comment, I read what the chart shows. If you've experienced the clarity that comes from respecting price action rather than projecting your hopes onto it. One of the most consequential distinctions in trading psychology is understanding the difference between consistency and stubbornness. At first glance, they might appear similar, both involve holding firm to a position or belief. Yet beneath the surface, they represent diametrically opposed mindsets with vastly different outcomes. The stubborn trader is emotionally attached to being right. They hold on to losing positions, not because their system dictates it, but because admitting they're wrong feels like a personal failure. They've merged their identity with their market opinion, creating a dangerous fusion where financial losses trigger existential crises. When the market moves against them, they don't just lose money, they lose face. This ego-driven approach blinds them to reality and blocks the transformational insights that only come through accepting when we're wrong. In striking contrast, the consistent trader operates from a position of emotional detachment. They've built a system based on careful observation and testing, and they follow it regardless of how they feel about any individual trade. When a position breaks their rules, they cut it immediately, not because they're afraid, but because their commitment to consistency demands it. They understand the profound truth that longevity in the markets requires surviving today's battle to fight tomorrow's war. This revelation changed everything in my own trading journey. I realized that consistency wasn't about never being wrong. It was about responding to being wrong in the right way. The market doesn't punish us for incorrect analysis. It punishes us for inconsistent responses to that analysis. One approach leads to the gradual erosion of capital until nothing remains. The other ensures survival through countless market cycles, allowing compound growth to work its magic over time. Now let's illuminate another dimension of this discussion, the universal challenge of emotional trading. The hidden truth about market participation is that no one, regardless of experience or expertise, escapes the fundamental human emotions of fear and greed. These primal forces never disappear from our trading psychology. They simply find increasingly subtle disguises as we mature in the craft. What separates the consistent trader isn't the absence of these emotions. It's their relationship with them. They've discovered that you don't overcome fear through courage or bravado. Attempting to be brave in the face of market volatility is a recipe for disaster. Instead, you neutralize fear through methodology, through having precise, predetermined actions for every market scenario. When you know exactly what you'll do if a trade moves against you, fear loses its paralyzing power. Similarly, greed isn't conquered through willpower or wishful thinking about being less greedy. It's systematically dismantled through obedience to position-sizing rules and adherence to predefined exits. The consistent trader doesn't rely on feeling satisfied with profits. They rely on their system to tell them when enough is enough, regardless of the emotional pull to let winners run beyond rational limits. This methodical approach to emotion represents one of the most profound paradigm shifts in a trader's development. Rather than trying to eliminate emotions, impossible, or ignore them, dangerous, the master trader builds a decision architecture that functions regardless of emotional weather. They create a trading system that works not in the absence of emotions, But despite their presence, have you noticed how your most costly trading mistakes weren't failures of analysis, but failures of emotional management? Comment: emotions are managed, not eliminated. If you've realized that trading mastery isn't about becoming emotionless, but about creating systems that function optimally even when emotions run high. Now, let's examine the practical blueprint of consistency, the day-to-day mechanics that transform this principle from abstract concept into tangible results. Behind every consistent trader's success is a set of non-negotiable procedures that govern their market interactions. These aren't vague guidelines, but precise protocols that remove ambiguity from the decision-making process. The foundation begins with capital risk management. Before entering any position, the consistent trader decides exactly how much they're willing to risk, typically a small, fixed percentage of their total capital, and they never exceed this amount, regardless of their conviction level. This single decision eliminates the catastrophic losses that destroy most trading careers before they truly begin. Next comes the discipline of predefined exits. Consistent traders set their stops before entering a position and never, under any circumstances, move them further away once the trade is live. This creates an unbreakable ceiling on potential loss, regardless of what narratives their mind might construct as prices move against them. The clarity this brings is transformative, replacing the anxiety of uncertainty with the calmness of defined boundaries. The final mechanical element involves setup selection. Consistent traders define precisely which market conditions warrant their participation and which don't. They create a playbook of specific setups, particular alignments of price, volume, and market structure that trigger their involvement. Everything outside these parameters is simply noise to be ignored, regardless of how tempting it might appear. These mechanics might seem restrictive at first glance, but experienced traders discover they're actually liberating. By removing the endless decision fatigue of moment-by-moment improvisation, these predetermined rules create the mental space necessary for objective observation and strategic thinking. Like a professional athlete who practices fundamentals until they become automatic, the consistent trader develops muscle memory for proper execution. The true revelation about consistency comes when you understand its compound effect over time. A single consistent trade produces modest results, perhaps a 1–2% account gain. Viewed in isolation, this hardly seems worth celebrating. But consistency isn't about isolated moments, it's about accumulation. When you execute these mechanical processes week after week, month after month, something remarkable begins to emerge. Those small, consistent gains compound, creating a growth curve that accelerates over time. It's the trading equivalent of building a brick wall. Each individual brick seems insignificant, just another small win or carefully managed loss. But laying those bricks with methodical precision day after day eventually creates an impenetrable fortress of capital. What makes this approach so powerful is its mathematical inevitability. While the inconsistent trader experiences wild swings of fortune, spectacular gains followed by devastating losses, the consistent trader follows a steadier path with a positive expectancy that compounds. They understand that trading isn't about the dramatic overnight success, but about the patient application of edge over hundreds or thousands of transactions. This perspective shift represents one of the most profound transformations in a trader's journey, moving from seeking the excitement of individual trades to appreciating the beauty of systematic process. Have you experienced that moment when you realize trading success comes not from the thrill of big wins, but from the disciplined application of consistency? Type compound consistency in the comments if you've witnessed how small, repeated actions eventually create monumental results in your trading or other areas of life. There's a profound psychological benefit to consistency that often goes unrecognized until you've experienced it firsthand, the ability to trust yourself in the heat of market action. This self-trust represents one of the most valuable assets a trader can develop, yet it cannot be purchased or acquired overnight. It emerges gradually through the daily choice to honor your own rules, regardless of temptation. When you consistently follow your trading plan day after day, something remarkable happens in your psychological landscape. You begin to develop an unshakable belief in your capacity to execute properly, even under extreme conditions. This isn't hollow confidence built on wishful thinking. It's evidence-based trust founded on a proven track record of consistency. Your own history becomes your greatest ally. The revelation that changed my perspective on trading psychology was understanding that this self-trust becomes absolutely priceless during market storms, those volatile periods when others are losing their heads. While the inconsistent trader panics, doubts their analysis, and hesitates when decisive action is required, the consistent trader moves with remarkable clarity and conviction. This difference in performance under pressure doesn't stem from superior market knowledge or some innate talent. It comes from the consistent trader's relationship with uncertainty. They've developed faith in their process through countless repetitions, creating a decision framework that functions regardless of market conditions. They know exactly what they'll do in any scenario because they've honored those decisions hundreds of times before. In essence, consistency creates a virtuous cycle of reinforcement. Each time you follow your rules, you strengthen your belief in your ability to follow them again. Each time you cut a loss quickly, you build confidence that you'll do the same when the next loss arrives. This cumulative self-trust becomes the foundation for clear thinking precisely when clear thinking is most valuable, during the periods of market turmoil. Now let's examine another dimension of consistency that Livermore highlighted: its function as a protective shield for your capital. In the battlefield of the markets, consistency serves as your primary defense system, keeping small losses small and allowing profits to grow steadily. Without this shield, your trading account remains perpetually vulnerable, exposed to the mercy of every emotional whim and market fluctuation. The consistent trader understands that each dollar in their account represents potential power, a soldier in their financial army. They never send these soldiers into battle without a clear strategy, defined objectives, and an extraction plan if things go wrong. This military-like discipline transforms trading from a gambling activity into a legitimate business operation with manageable risks and sustainable returns. What makes consistency such an effective shield is its ability to prevent the two most common account killers: the catastrophic loss and death by 1,000 cuts. The catastrophic loss occurs when a trader abandons their risk parameters in pursuit of a sure thing or to recover previous losses. The death by 1,000 cuts happens when a trader permits dozens of small losses to accumulate without corresponding wins, slowly bleeding their account dry. Consistency prevents both scenarios through unwavering discipline in position sizing and loss management. The transformation from gambler to operator represents one of the most significant journeys in a trader's development. Have you experienced moments when your consistency shielded you from potentially devastating market moves? Share "My shield held firm" in the comments if you've witnessed how disciplined trading protected your capital when others were taking substantial losses. As we've explored the power of consistency throughout this conversation, I hope you've recognized patterns from your own trading journey. The rule of consistency isn't just another trading concept. It's the fundamental principle that separates those who build lasting wealth from those who merely chase excitement in the markets. Remember what Livermore discovered through decades of market battles. Consistency serves as your shield against the chaos of emotions and market volatility. It transforms gambling into business, random actions into deliberate strategy, and uncertainty into methodical execution. The consistent trader doesn't just survive, they thrive through market cycles that devastate the undisciplined. If these ideas have resonated with you today, I'd love for you to become part of this community of traders committed to consistency over gambling. Subscribe to join us as we continue exploring these timeless market principles that have built fortunes for generations. Each video builds on these core concepts, helping you develop the mindset and mechanics that lead to sustainable trading success. Did this message speak directly to your trading journey? Let me know by commenting "Consistency is my edge" below. Your engagement helps me understand which concepts connect most deeply with serious traders. If you found value in today's exploration, a simple like on this video helps others discover these ideas, which is particularly important since the approach we discuss here runs counter to the sensationalism that dominates most trading content. I've prepared a video that explores the specific risk management framework that complements this consistency principle. It's the perfect next step in building your trading foundation. Click right here to continue this journey with me. I think you'll find it illuminates another crucial dimension of professional trading that most never grasp.